Welcome to the Living LG3 podcast. Hi, I'm Rachel Niemeyer, your host. Have you ever met someone who lives each day with a servant heart, Christ-like humility? Well, today we have with us Stephen Tall. Hi, Steve.
Hello.
Welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you.
We're excited
Thanks
to have
for
you.
having me.
Yeah. So you are at Sioux Falls Christian working here.
Correct.
And some people may or may not know that. So let's dig into that a little bit. Tell us a little bit about your role here at school.
My current role is I work with facilities at the gathering next door. I work with facilities at Breakthrough Pathways building. Work with the transportation, assigning buses, vans, helping maintain them, helping keeping them clean, and just whatever else comes up.
So I'm curious, how many bus drivers do we have?
Currently we have 11 on the schedule or on the sign-up sheet.
All right. So if there's anybody listening today that likes to drive a bus, contact you, right?
Absolutely.
Or would like to learn?
We could use a few more.
Yeah. Well, cool. Thank you for all those. I mean, there's a lot of hats and a big variety, and that's changed because you've been with us here at Sioux Falls Christian for what now, 8 years?
This is my 12th year.
12th year.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. So you're probably here as long as I've been here. I'm going on 13.
I started here August of 2014.
Okay. But you have a cool story. When it's kind of similar to mine because I was in the public school.
Yep.
And you were in the police department serving our community.
Correct.
For 27 years?
27 years.
Very good.
Yep.
Tell us about how Sioux Falls Christian has come full circle for you.
Yeah, well, I started with the school when it was brand new. Sioux Falls Christian High School is what they called it. We were in a church down there at 41st and I believe 7th Avenue. It's a little Reformed church. The church hasn't changed. If you drive by it, it was still that size. It's that size today, the same it was back when school started.
So you're saying you were there as a student?
As a student, day one. Yes, day one as an 8th grader. So,
wow.
Been with the school a long time. We moved around a little bit. I was with part of that class. I was a junior when we walked from about 9th and Spring over to the campus on Sycamore. And we thought we were something, right? We have a gym, a full-size gym. We can. It was just awesome.
You have seen so much change.
Yeah, for sure.
Incredible. Steve, can you tell us a little bit about who has modeled some great servant-like leadership for you when you were here at Sioux Falls Christian?
Sure. And just in the house at home, my house growing up, my parents obviously had a huge impact. One of the first teachers at that school that I, went to, we had some really good teachers that came along and helped start the school. One of them was here when I came back to work here, Mr. Bohr.
Okay.
But we had a coach and a biology teacher that was very impactful. His name was Mr. Schwartzendruber.
Okay.
We called him Mr. S. The guy was incredible. I mean, he was definitely an example, a leader. He was a guy that you just, you learned a lot from him, and I still remember it today.
What is it that you learned? Can you give me an example of what that looked like? Like that, you're talking into the space of like a humble leadership spot. What is it? Like what are characteristics that screams at you to this day as an older person?
Yeah, he was a great leader. I mean, he really got to know people. He got to know his students. He was very, I would say I probably wasn't the best student, and yet he would come along and just help you. And then on the sports end of it, we always, whether it was in the classroom, whether it was at practice, we'd always bring, God into it. He would have Bible passages. He would share about himself. And just a really good leader, very great coach. Yeah.
So that brings me back to the thought of, so you served our community for 27 years in the police department. You came back here. How did you feel like coming to Sioux Falls Christian wasn't just a different job?
Sure.
But it became like it's part of your calling. This journey of your life has been a calling just by how you carry yourself in such a humble, kind, servant-hearted spirit.
When I left Sioux Falls Christian, I did a variety of jobs, right? I got in I wasn't 100% sure what I wanted to do. College was expensive. I wasn't the best student. I would have loved to have gone to college and played some sports, right? But not knowing what I'm going to do and just being the expense of it, I started working, right? So I worked some construction jobs. I worked for an electrical company. I worked for a garage door company. Worked at Morel's for a year. And then I ended up landing at the police department, which was totally not on the radar. Totally, I had zero plans of ever joining the police department.
It goes to show how God's inside of
Bingo.
it, right?
Yeah. So you look back at this and you see it was a God thing. So, and the way I got on the police department was I'd gone down the year before to do the fire department thing, to take the test. I took the test. I got on the list. I passed, but they don't tell you where you're at on the list, and they don't tell you how many they're hiring. And that list is good for a year. So the following year, I hadn't gotten hired, so I go back. I'm going to do it again. And the lady in HR tells me, we're not taking applications for the fire department, but we are for the police department. I have zero interest, right, in the police department.
Wow.
But that lady and I sat and we talked, and she explained that the testing for the police department is similar to the fire department, and why not do it, right? It'll help you with the fire department later down the road. So, okay, so I sign up. I end up going and I take the test. They had good news and bad news. The good news is they are hiring from this test. The bad news was there was like 350 of us there, give or take. The bad news was two-part. They're hiring one off this test, and you guys are only half of the applicants. The other half was there in the morning prior. So, or that morning. So here we are, 700 plus people, one opening. I'm wasting my time, right? But I'm not there because I want to be on the police department. I'm there because I want to take the test. So anyway, I go through the process of the testing, totally forget about it. I'm at work one day, and then we happen to be at a place, a couple were remodeling a house, and the lady, this is prior to cell phones, correct? Yep. So the lady comes, and your mom's on the phone. So I'm like, why would my mom be calling this house, looking for me, right? So I obviously talked to her on the phone, and she is hot. She is upset because the police have called her house and are looking for me. What did you do?
With no explanation.
Yeah, no explanation. What did you do? How come the police would be looking for you? And I have no idea.
So you're saying that your mom has never been called by the police department on you before?
Correct.
Okay.
At that point,
okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So at that point, she had not. So I'm just like, I have no idea. Because this is months. I took the test in August. This is November now. So, I mean, I've long forgotten about ever being on the police department, right? I used my home address because that was consistent, the home address, the home phone. So that's how they got that phone number. So anyway, I call the police. I call the name and the number I had, and the guy says, hey, are you still interested in pursuing a career as a police officer with the city of Sioux Falls? And I'm like, I go from being nervous, like anxiety, like what's going on, to, oh, sure, why not, right? Because at that point, my job, I was getting laid off in the winter, and I could do this. And it's like, I really have no great expectation or desire to be there anyway, but I'd love to go through it and try it, right? Well, the further I get into the police department stuff, the first thing is you just want to get through training.
Yeah.
And then you want to get through probation. And there was a period where we went to Pier, and you had to go through the state academy, and you just want to get through that. Boom, I'm passing all this stuff, right? I'm getting through.
Yeah.
And then you got a year of probation. Well, that was my goal. I wanted to get off probation. I get off of that, and it's like, hey, this is awesome. Being a police officer is amazing for some. Probably not for everybody, but it truly is amazing.
And when you're speaking that, Steve, I can see how the emotion in you is rising, because how cool is it that God went before you? Right?
Right.
He had a calling on your life, and you didn't even know it. But in the moment when you got the phone call, you're like, well, yeah, that's
right.
it. You got a peace about it.
Right.
That's when you know it's God, right?
Right.
I'd be curious, how did you prepare yourself in your life to get to that point where you're willing to hear God's voice? Because I think there's a lot of us that want this control in our life, the space of like, I got this under control. I know what I want. Yeah. I have a goal of being on the fire department. I'm not wavering. But you in that moment, like what, yes, it's your faith and your walk with the Lord, but what is it that kept you in the space of listening to the Lord?
Well, I think a lot of it is, you know, I'm just growing up, and I'm not 100% confident where I need to be or where I'm going or what exactly, you know, what do I want? I'm trying different things. Some things are working, some aren't. But just being open. And
so let's fast forward.
Yeah.
27 years later, you're open to coming back to the same hallways. Well, maybe not the same building,
Right.
but the same hallways that formed and shaped you.
Right.
Right. And so tell us a little bit about that transition and how you ended back at Sioux Falls Christian when you retired.
Yeah. So prior to me retiring, they did have an opening at school for a facilities manager. And I don't have a teaching certificate, although I taught plenty at the police department, but I don't have that certificate, so I can't teach. So I can't apply for one of those. But thinking back to my high school days and beyond that, if I would have went to college, I'm sure it would have been for be a teacher, right? I love the school.
So natural.
I love the athletics of school. I love the community of school. And so school was a big part of my life. And it is for everybody that goes to school, right? But I don't know. There was just something about it that really drew me to that. So I'm like, well, here's my opportunity to come back.
Yeah. So
and I can't come back as a teacher, but I can be in the hallways.
So with that, knowing I'm hearing a little bit about like, well, this degree maybe held me back in this spot, but yet, Steve, you've had a variety of roles where teaching has been a key part of that, even in the space of mentoring.
Right. Right.
I feel maybe share a couple stories of when you've stepped into mentorship when maybe it wasn't even the job that you were tasked with, but it's naturally how God's made you that you stepped into that.
Yeah. Well, at Sioux Falls Christian, obviously it's grown way beyond when I was there, but it's all about relationships. And, it's about those kids that, I don't know, they just need something. They need someone.
Yep.
They probably got it at home. They've got it with their friends, but all of a sudden you see them in the hallway, you see them wherever, and it's just like.
And that pours out of you. Like just in a conversation, Steve, that's what comes from you is this love for people that is genuine and real, just like Jesus was when he walked on earth. And I remember, in my counseling world and working with students that just needed that extra person that loved them in a very natural way. Yeah. It wasn't like this formal thing. It was just like, hey, let's have this person walk alongside Steve. And I know you and I've had different conversations with different students, but you're always like, I love working with students that have had hard.
Right.
Right. And
because we know that every student there's good there, right? And sometimes it takes a little longer to find it or to deal with it, but it's there. And there's a lot of examples here of kids that maybe had a rough year and they're coming along, they're doing great.
And there's no amount of training that creates that for somebody to say, I can do this. It's coming from a space of how God's designed and made you. So what's really cool is to hear, Steve, like, you maybe feel like there's this hurdle of I didn't have this degree, but you took it from a space that you have the skill set and you brought in exactly how God's made you. And so I'm just here to tell you that, like, it's been a blessing for me to, one, be your friend, but also to see how you've listened to God in those spaces and the impact that you've made in students' lives that many people will never even know, because you just naturally step into it and just go for it because you feel like that's a calling and a gifting that God's given you.
Right.
So,
if you go back to Matthew 20, verse 28, where Jesus came to serve but not be served, I don't have the exact verse, but I think that's the case of a lot of staff here. We're not here, they're not here because they're making lots of money. It's all about me, myself, and I. No, they're here because God has called them to be here and to make a difference in students' lives.
Steve, another thing I think is really powerful is I watch you and Kim together. You guys are a pretty cool partnership because you are very similar in this space of just this servant-heartedness. Actually, Kim was working here at Sioux Falls Christian when I applied, and I'll never forget her encouragement when I sit in the office all nervous. And she was just super thoughtful and kind and be like, I'm praying for you. So that leads into your guys' own personal life. I know that you guys foster a little boy. Can you tell us a little bit about that journey?
Yeah.
And
Well, we currently have a little guy living with us. He's a sixth grader. He's been in our lives off and on for the last 11 and a half years. He brings a ton of joy, brings a ton of challenges to our house, but overall, just love pouring into him.
Yeah.
Love loving on him, love what he brings to us. And so, yeah.
What keeps you steadfast in those times when it feels like it's really hard and difficult? And like, how do I keep doing this day after day when those hard spaces show up?
Yeah.
When it's not your own biological kid.
Yeah. A lot of times what we do, or what I do, I should say, is I look to the past, right? And I look at where we were, I look and how far we've come. And I've looked at parts that we've been involved with his life. And yeah, it's not easy, but it wasn't easy with our kids every day, right? So it's okay. And to see the growth from being a infant to being where he is today, it's amazing. And he's an awesome little guy, and just it'll be exciting to see what Jesus does with him as he continues to grow. And
it's neat that that theme shows up in your life in all aspects. So thank you for that example you leave.
Yeah, it's been really good.
A little bit back to serving in the community.
Yeah.
How has that been? How is there a parallel of being in a space that we want Jesus to be a part of everything?
Yep.
To a place where you maybe don't get to have that freedom all the time.
Right.
How did God work in you in both spaces in a similar way?
Well, on the police department, there's a lot you can do by your actions, right? By your words. You don't have to get out the Bible and start reading scripture, but people start picking up.
Yeah.
People you work with, the people that you're working, your customers, right? It's just, you teach them, or you treat them with dignity, you treat them with respect.
Yep.
Some of our customers, they were great. They were good people. They just get caught up in a bad moment.
Yep.
And you try to you encourage them as far as, you're going to jail, but that's not the end of all. What you do when you learn from this experience and you don't get yourself back into it.
Yeah.
That tells a lot. So, there's a lot of things you could do on the police department just with the way you acted, the way you treated people, your language. It was.
And I was just that's exactly where my mind was going, is how you let your Christ-like humble spirit function here is probably exactly what you were doing in the community, but you didn't need accolades from humans, and that's really different. It's different when you're working in a public arena. It's like, right. How do I get Harry to the next level? How do I get recognized? And Steve, that is not your goal. You're the opposite of that, in the space of I want my actions to shine.
Right.
And that's been a consistent, probably through your whole lifetime.
Right.
How, on the same token, I'm guessing that's grown. What do you do for our listeners and for myself? I would love to hear, how do you stay consistent in that space without that part of us that just wants to be recognized? How do you stay in a spot of humility? What do you do in your daily walk with the Lord that is who you are?
Yeah.
Each day.
I think a couple of things there. I think you surround yourself with good people, right? You surround yourself with people that are like-minded to some extent. Your daily walk with Jesus is extremely important, right? And the Bible's full of good stories, good examples, and characters in that Bible that weren't perfect people.
Yep.
And the things they were able to do. And it's not like, look at me, the most important people in the world, me, myself, and I. No, that's not it at all. It's about those that are around you.
Can you think of an example in the Bible that has stuck out for you?
Several. If you look at the life of Moses, right? He's raised not by his own family. He ends up becoming this big, powerful guy in the land of Egypt, right?
Yep.
He is in charge because God has filled him with wisdom. Then he goes out and makes a mistake, and what's he do? He takes off, right? 40 years he's out wandering, and he becomes the shepherd, and all of a sudden God calls him back and says, "I got a big job for you."
Yep. That consistent faithfulness, right?
Yeah, and he wasn't. Maybe in his younger days, maybe he was looking, when he had all that power, maybe he was looking at, hey, look at me. But I don't ever get that.
No, not when we read that.
He was a leader, right? Yep. He was a guy that was out there, and he surrounded himself with good people, and they were able to get all this stuff accomplished and done.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, boom, he makes a mistake, he takes off, and then he comes back, and now you talk about a humble, he can't do any of this, right? It's God that is directing him. Another one is Paul, right?
Yep.
And how he went from being this big, mean guy to being Paul, who it's not about him at all. It's about
Yep.
Jesus Christ and following Jesus and getting,
Yeah.
non-believers
Yep.
and encouraging the churches and writing those letters
Yep.
that are in the Bible. And
It's a great example,
Yeah.
right? I mean,
And he-
this pure humanness, to all of a sudden, God
Yeah.
did something that switched the light bulb.
Yeah. Another thing with him is the community said, you're a bad guy, right?
Right.
We're going to throw you in jail. Okay. I can preach and teach there. He had an audience there. He wrote letters there.
Yeah.
So Bible's full.
Yeah. It's
Stay connected,
incredible.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this brings me to the whole, as we start to wrap up.
Yeah.
Our podcast is called the Living LG3 Podcast.
Okay.
And that's our vision for the school.
Yep.
That maybe wasn't the vision back when you were a student, but it is now, and it probably was very much alive back then.
Yes.
Tell
Absolutely.
us a little bit about that. Like, I just hear it in just you recalling about Bible stories that
Yeah.
relate to your life, right?
Yeah.
It's coming out, but how would you articulate that?
Yeah,
How
well,
it was
the love was there from the beginning, right? When the parents that got together and dreamt, because we had Calvin Christian through 8th grade, no high school,
Yeah.
but the parents that got together said, we love Christian education. We love Jesus, right? And we want to share that with our kids here in Sioux Falls.
Yeah.
So the love parts, and then they hire good people to start sharing that love. And those people, I think, if you hear the stories, back in the day, there was teachers that probably didn't get paid, right, or didn't get paid for a month or two because the funds just weren't quite there. Well, they weren't doing it for the money, obviously,
Yep.
right? But they loved the passion. They loved what they were doing.
Yep.
So anyway, I think the love's always been there, and it's certainly here today. All right, the grow. I mean, what a great place to grow, right? With our walk with Christ, with our walk with each other, we can walk with our peers. We can walk with our, our co-teachers. We can grow. This is a great place to grow.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And then go. Well, we're all going to go from this place at some point, right?
Yeah.
Especially as students.
Yep.
A lot of the students are going to leave before we are. And where do they all just start to disperse?
Yeah.
And we're hoping, and it's our prayer, that they're taking a lot of this with them. And I just saw one of our alumni yesterday that gave a chapel presentation at one of our local colleges.
Wow.
And to see that kid stand up before his peers and give the message that he gave, amazing. It's awesome,
Yeah.
right? He's going. He went, and he's not going to stop.
Yep.
And it goes back to that passion. Goes back to the passion of the home, what he's getting at home, what he's getting at school, the peers that he's surrounding himself with. And it's my prayer that we have a school full of these people, right? And then to glorify,
Yep.
we can glorify God everywhere, all day, right? No matter what. We can be driving down the road singing praise songs. We can be playing games. We can be hanging out with our peers. We can be doing whatever and glorifying God.
Yeah.
We all know who our Maker is. We all know. We don't know. All of us don't know yet what our purpose on earth is yet, but we're getting there. We're going to learn it. We're going to get there.
Steve,
So-
it's pretty cool that statement that you just said brings us almost full circle to the beginning of our
Yeah.
podcast of how you gave space to God. We're not all great at giving space to God to direct us in our calling. And that's exactly what you're articulating. So part of that's just how you're wired and how you're in tune to your walk with the Lord. So thank you for that. And then you also mentioned how we want this place to be filled with people that want to go, right? And listen to his calling on our life.
Absolutely.
So there again, thank you for being that type of leader that is different than what the world wants us to be. So just thank you for being a part of it today. We really enjoyed having you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been great. All right. So thank you for joining us today. We hope that you'll join us and listen to our other podcasts as well. Have a great day.